Hi, Spencer here. Quick note before we begin the episode. As we're going to explain in just a second, we missed a week because Ethan was experiencing some technical difficulties with his microphone, and it seems like that problem is not fixed as we thought. So there's going to be some audio stuff going on, and it's not going to be the most listenable thing, but our podcast isn't that listenable to begin with. So, whoops. We didn't want to have to record another episode if we're being honest, so we're going to release it as is, but in the meantime, we are definitely going to try to fix this before we record the next one. And if any of you know what's going on, please send us an email. It's just styleanddirection@gmail.com. That's all spelled out. He's using a blue snowball mic, by the way. Thank you, and have a good listen to the podcast. I'll talk to you in just a minute in the past.
Okay, hi guys, welcome to Style and Direction, a classic menswear podcast without the stuffiness. This is your host, Ethan Wong.
I'm Spencer Roddy. We took a break, didn't we?
We did take a break. For those of you... Oh, by the way, we're recording this
live.
Well, normally. On Audacity, and we're also live on Instagram.
It's fun for the people on Instagram because this is going to be basically... unlistenable because they're not going to know anything I'm saying.
Yeah, they're not going to hear what Spencer is saying, obviously.
They're not going to be able to make heads nor tails of these conversations.
They won't be able to. But I'm hoping the reason why that we're going live on Instagram is so they can ask us questions live.
So first of all, we apologize for the break. The first
we've been gone for quite a long time,
like a month. The first time was because our podcast, we recorded one and it just kind of got gobbled up by like the gremlins.
Yeah, apparently. So we've been gone for a month, and we did record one episode.
Lost episode.
Yeah, it's a lost
episode.
I mean, we technically still have it. It's just the what do you call it? The audio got like kind of corrupted. Like it was fine for like the first 20 minutes, and then you hear just kind of a weird popping sound.
We have my audio.
Yeah,
that's
Spencer's
fine.
Clean. Yeah, we can just re-record it.
We can
and
do like the opposite of what's going on right now with the Instagram thing.
You know, funnily enough, so when I did my interview with Gentleman's Gazette, apparently my audio was fine, but his wasn't. And so if you watch that video on YouTube, his stuff is like recorded later. So it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, maybe most people didn't notice it, but I definitely noticed it. Like, okay. If I watch it, it's kind of weird, like a disconnect. Like, that's definitely not what he was wearing, and that's definitely not his tone of voice when he first did the recording. But anyway, we had to skip that episode, and then it was Thanksgiving the week after that, and then I went to New York.
You wanted to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
New York.
And so I just got back. Yeah, City of God, the city of
God. Yeah,
the Windy City,
the Windy Sin City.
The city's
oh my God!
So nice.
Well, that's your audio.
They named it twice. What?
I opened your Instagram live so I could see what people are saying.
Why would you do that?
So I could do this.
Oh God. Okay. Well, anyway, so this episode we're going to be talking about. Thank you. Someone just said welcome back on the Instagram live. Basically, we're going to be talking about my New York trip. Obviously, Spencer wasn't there, so I thought he would give little old me a good interview and help me flesh out some of the stuff that I did. As most of you guys know, I did a blog post.
2 of them, in fact.
2 of them, yeah. I did one blog post on like kind of what I did, kind of just a recap because I went to like different stores, and then I also did one on the different menswear.
Hey, I'm on your blog right now, and I just noticed it's called Ethan's Extremely Short NYC Adventure. Can you rename that Ethan's Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close?
And then just have me going like covering my ears or something, or
New
whatever.
York City Adventure.
Yeah. So we can definitely do that.
Yeah. So Okay,
Yeah.
so just want to
Okay,
get into
so
it.
Spencer, do you want to jump right into it,
Yeah.
or do you want to? Yeah.
So I'm going
Yeah.
to start out with with a little softball because that's the first thing you learn about interviewing when you go
You
to
know,
newspaper
funnily
school.
enough, at
Yeah.
my school, we had to play softball instead of baseball because I think softball you have less equipment, right? Like you don't really need helmets.
But they do
Yeah,
have that stand, so that's
they
like one more
do. That's
piece.
true. That's true.
Um. So okay. So first of all, did you
Yes.
ever pound your hand on the hood of a taxi cab and say, "Hey, I'm walking here"?
You know, I did. I was Okay, I can't even think of a funny joke. I was gonna be like, I was. Is that Robert De Niro? Is that Taxi Driver?
No, that's no, that's Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman and
You know, in
John
my head,
Voight.
Midnight Cowboy is a porn.
I mean, it okay. It was X-rated. It's not actually that raunchy, but it's John Voight
I
plays
mean,
a male prostitute,
John Voight.
and
He's the dad of Angelina Jolie, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and also he goes to a porn movie at one point.
Oh, nice. I love porn.
That was fun. I wonder what the people on your
I
post.
know, right? Well, there's like 7 people live right now. There was like 13 or 14 earlier
And we
today.
lost them.
We did get a few people ask some
We
questions.
got
I
we
don't know
got
if
a
you.
few hop-ons.
Yeah, I don't know if you are you on the thing right now?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you can write down some of the questions if you want because we can go back to it.
Yeah.
But hey, wait, I'll answer some right now. Why don't we just get into that right now? I
Yeah,
know
so
that
you said that
uh,
you got some earlier, right?
yeah, I did. So I hung out with Derek, who
Well,
is
what's the question? Are you just
well, okay. So the question was, what is the vintage scene like in New York versus
Oh,
LA?
yeah, that's a good question.
And I did want to say that the trip,
Cheap.
cheap, cheap.
Yeah. The
I just
Room.
saw The Room for the second time recently, so that's in
Yeah,
my head.
with Disaster Artist in theaters now.
Yeah, come watch it with us because we've got movie passes.
Come one, come
so-
all.
Yeah. Ew. Um, sorry, that was a cum joke.
For all you
Come
film
all you
heads out
faithful,
there.
am I right?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so I didn't really have a lot of time to explore. I know that there are a bunch of vintage people in New York. There's like Dandy Wellington. There's Michael Haar, who just opened up a hair. I was gonna say
A
salon,
hair
but
store.
it's a barber shop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's the
the name of
barbershop.
it.
There's a whole bunch of guys that I read about in the book I Am Dandy, and I only got to meet one of them, Sean Crowley.
Hmm.
He is, I'd say that, compared to the LA scene, I think that New York has more of like that kind of the vintage scene that Spencer and I are more like. And by that I mean like we mix up different eras. We kind of have this classic general vintage look as opposed to like a straight 30s, straight 40s kind of thing. So Sean Crowley, if you haven't read I Am Dandy, he is a vintage collector, vintage seller, and designer. I told him this. I thought he was British when I first met him, or when I first
I
heard
thought
about
he
him.
was British until
Yeah.
like yesterday.
Until I told you, right? Because
Yeah.
okay, so his name is Sean Crowley, which sounds British just inherently. If you look at the book I Am Dandy, there's like a big, I think there's a flag of the Union Jack in his apartment, and which is now in his store, and I guess you can be an Anglophile, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes people who do like to dress up tend to have that kind of British, style, inspiration stuff, going on there. So I thought he was British, but he's not. He's just he's from New England though, so
Yeah.
that's I mean, that's in England. Does that count?
It's better than England because it's new.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so basically that's what I've kind of gathered. Like here, it's more of a, I guess, almost reenactment kind of a vibe. I don't mean that in like a bad way. It's just like kind of a different attitude where like one is about lifestyle, while the other one's more about clothes. And I could just speak for myself, but I attribute most of it to like, okay, so New York is very liberal. You can do whatever you want. And so, dressing however you want is cool there. While in LA, traditionally, LA and by extension California is a kind of a very liberal place, which is kind of like New York, but then I guess the counterculture of the liberal
Well, yeah,
lifestyle would be
we could get
to be,
into like the fact that
yeah.
since California was like settled, like or since the 20th century,
Right.
for the most part, California has been a very casual place.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
yeah, so it's always been a lot more casual than the East Coast.
right, right. Yeah, so I mean LA, surfer town. Dogtown,
Yeah.
USA. Isn't that's a documentary, right? Or
Wait,
something
what,
about like
what's the
skateboarders?
documentary?
Dogtown? Boys of Dogtown? Kings of Dogtown. Wait,
Bridges of Madison County.
there you go. Anyway, yeah, there's a huge, it's culturally appropriate here to be casual, and so to go against that, I guess,
Yeah, because
you
it's
would
like
you would dress up, and then by extension, the era that dresses up is usually the past, and then you get the whole thing, and
yeah, because
so.
we don't know many people besides those who work in retail who have to dress up for their job in California.
Right.
But in New York,
yeah, it's
different.
it's like a conscious choice to dress up.
Yeah.
But again,
Which is,
both can be seen as kind of the flip sides of the same coin, right? Like New York and California are very liberal, but I guess, yeah, like you said, like, New York has kind of a corporate thing in there. People who live in Manhattan tend to be business people or whatever, and so you have to dress up for work. While in California, you don't have to. So, yeah, All just made a good point saying that California could be seen as anti-establishment, and by that we mean like fashion-wise. So you go against the fashion norm of jeans and shorts or whatever, and then you dress up in a suit. And of course, there's always that other side where like, oh, they're really liberal. We need to go back to old school morals. So that could be. We're not going to get into that, but I think that's definitely a factor of the vintage attitude in California versus the vintage attitude in New York. So basically, that's kind of it. So like Sean Crowley, he wasn't wearing like complete 30s when I met him. He was kind of mixing different different eras. I mean, like if you see in the blog, he's wearing like a houndstooth jacket with like a club collar that's pinned with like a animal print tie. It's kind of English, kind of Ivy at the same time. Kind of again more in line with what Spencer and I would do. It's kind of just dress how you like, as opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna be straight 1940s, straight 1950s, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big difference that I gathered in my short time in New York. But I mean, you can always do like, you look at the Jazz Age lawn party, and then you compare that with like the people who go to Paper Moon Vintage. It's Paper Moon is kind of like the the regulars who still have fun, but everyone does full vintage, while Jazz Age Lawn Party is kind of like, are you proud of that? The Usual Suspects?
Actually, it's probably not a great movie to reference in this current climate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that. That's what I gathered about New York. And of course, I didn't really get to explore. I didn't really hit up anybody. I mean, there's Adam Corin at JG's Hat Center. I did stop by very briefly, but he was not working that day, so I'm sure he would have been able to answer some questions.
Shame.
Adam, for those of you who don't know, he is a cartoonist who works for a hat store in New York, and I mean, he's one of the first people I followed when I got into vintage, because he was like a frequent poster on the Fedora Lounge. So yeah. I'm gonna scroll through. If you think of another question, just shout it out.
Okay. Why don't you tell us about, going to your kind of like meccas, or like meeting your idols? Because right now I'm looking at Ethan's extremely loud and incredibly close blog post. And honestly, that corduroy suit is so good, and I want you to tell me about that. Maybe not the suit, but
the one from Drake's.
That's serious. Is that like that's a full suit?
Okay, so it's kind of funny to me, because when I talk about vintage with like regular, like with the people in New York, they probably don't get it as much as we do. And then I can't really talk to Spencer too much about like Drake's and the Armoury. It's kind of like it's two different worlds here. Like Spencer, there is no Drake's or Armoury here to like walk in and like fawn over. but there's a whole bunch of vintage here that we can be like, oh yeah, look at that dope 60s suit or whatever. You know, and on the flip side, yeah, they can go to like tailor shops. They've met like Mark Cho, Michael Hill, the creative director of Drake's, but they don't really have a lot of vintage to like, you know, look at and inspect. So it's kind of interesting for me to be on both sides there. So to answer your question, Spencer, Drake's actually started a ready-to-wear line called Easy Day, where they just made like capsule collections, I guess. So that corduroy suit is one of their pieces. They also have like a hop sack suit. They have a flannel suit, stuff like that. Because normally they do. They started out with jackets, all of them 3-roll-2 unstructured, no lining, and then they expanded to this Easy Day collection where they have actual suits. And that dope ass green one is one of those great pieces, and I think it's like $1,400. Which, I mean, sounds like a lot, and it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, if you're considering like, okay, where else would you find a green corduroy suit 3-roll-2? Like that's like $1,400 is like, yeah. I mean, it's still kind of expensive, but if you compare it to like bespoke, which is probably what you normally have to do, it's not too bad. I mean, the pants are high rise. There's patch pockets. It's like Ivy meets British meets like Italian soft tailoring. So it's like, it's right up my alley, which is like everything.
You said it was like what, one point I was writing down questions that people have been asking. So hold your horses, folks.
Oh, good. Yeah. So if you're watching the Instagram live thing,
but
Spencer is writing down.
You said it was like 1.4, right?
Yeah. I think it's 1.4.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that because I'm pretty sure it's around like 1.2 to 1.4. That's like usually how the jackets and suits from Drake's tend to go for.
Because it's like, I mean, I work at a store, and we have
it's Men's Warehouse, because we said that last time.
Oh damn it, they know. But anyway, we have a custom program that can go up to 1.4, and honestly, it's like, I mean, when I think about it, it's like, oh, there's like, you know, you could get a don't tell anyone I said this, not very good custom suit from Men's Warehouse for 1.4K, or you can get a Drake suit for that same amount of money.
Right. And that's exactly it, because if it sounds like a lot to us who tend to like thrift and, you know, go on eBay for suits, but like regular dudes, like when I worked at Banana Republic, a suit is like $600.
Yeah, suits are expensive. Everything is expensive.
Most ready to wear out there is pretty expensive. And I think like what J. Crew probably makes like the best out of all the mall brands, and even though the design is not quite there, but like fabric wise, it's probably the best. Even that, it's like $750 or something. You know, it's so if you think of like just doubling that, you know, maybe waiting like an extra paycheck, you know, if you're looking for a suit and going for like a Drake's one, it's like you might as well do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the question was, what was
What's
it like
to meet your idols and
yeah. So we'll go with Drake's first. You know, most people know that I have been into vintage menswear for like 4 or 5 years now.
Decades.
And decades even. But my foray, I guess, into contemporary menswear only started about 2 years ago, and it started with like the Armoury, and then that's how it led me into like Drake's. And so I think Drake's has been really cool for me because it's still evolving. Drake's, you know, to a lot of people has been mainly a tie manufacturer. I think I've told that to Spencer. They were a manufacturer. They didn't really sell until maybe about 10, 20 years ago. They used to make stuff for like Barney's, or like they would produce for other brands, you know, under their label, but then they eventually started to make their own stuff. And then once they were bought up by Mark Cho, who owns the Armoury, and the creative control shifted from Michael Drake, the founder, to Michael Hill, who was Michael. So there are two Michaels, but basically Michael.
Two Michaels.
I know. Michael Hill is the current creative director, and under his tutelage, along with Mark's, you know, direction. Again, I don't really know too much about the politics and not really politics is not the right word, but like, you know, like the actual behind the scenes stuff. But from my understanding, when those two guys worked together, that's when they started to branch out into they started making trousers, started making sweaters, shirts, and now full tailoring. And so it's been cool for me to see, like, just like the past 2 years that I've been into this, seeing like this brand turn into like a full-fledged haberdashery. They make some really great stuff, and I think one part of their success is due to their social media and their branding. Their main thing is still the ties. People all over the world wear and stock their ties. But whenever I see like a picture of them wearing their tailoring, I feel like, wow, that's so Drake's. It feels like it's always been there, even though it's like a new thing that they're doing. And so their New York store is one of like the newest things that they've done. Like they used to just be in Britain, in London actually, and then and then I think they've opened in Japan. There's one in Korea, South Korea, obviously. I don't think Kim Jong Un is wearing Drake's, but so the New York one opened up earlier this year, and they've gotten on it right away. Like they've started posting these guys, and when I was talking to them, specifically Chase, Chase was the first guy that I met. We ran into each other at Central Park. I was told him I was very impressed with how Drake's made their footing in New York, because they hired Fred, or F.E. Castleberry. I don't really know him from this, but he apparently wrote a blog called Unabashedly Prep for a few years during the beginning of the menswear blogging resurgence or whatever. And he's an accomplished photographer in his own right, and his unique photography style, which contrasts really sharply with like the British one, like the main account, it really shows Drake's in New York. I've shown Spencer this all the time. It shows the New York guys like eating a pizza, hanging out on the sidewalk. Like it's very New York.
Yep. Only in New York.
Yeah. Sorry, I just burped.
Nice.
Yeah, I just did it again. But yeah, it's like, again, it's like, like with their tailoring, it feels like a very natural extension of what they were doing. So it's like, wow, Drake's has always been in New York, even though it's only been here for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing the guys that have been a part of this, who have all, I think almost like 3 of them. So it's managed by Matt Woodruff, and then there's 2 other guys, Chase and Alex, and then there's other 2 guys like Kevin. Will. I didn't get to meet Will. And then there's a seasonal helper named Roman. But anyway, just like meeting these guys that I've seen pictures of on Drake's, just regular young guys, was just super cool to me. Mm-hmm. Like the thing that I've been, my theme in the past like 6 or 7 blog posts ever since the bloke was like, there's nothing like that in LA. It's coming slowly. Yeah. I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to get us all to hang out. But one of the reasons that I think New York differs from LA, and this is like a kind of a different topic, is that, they have stores in New York, and they are run by young guys that are Spencer and my age, compared to here, where we're all more enthusiasts. Like, yeah, we buy stuff. We don't really work in it, besides me and Spencer. But yeah, these guys are kind of removed from the industry, so they don't really... Like, yeah, we might follow the same people, but they don't get to meet Mark Cho. They don't get to meet Michael Drake. Well, these guys, they're in the company, so they do meet these big players, and they're literally a part of how they and how this company is growing. And they're like the face of it, right? Like Drake's has like thousands of followers, and these regular dudes who are sales associates are broadcast out there. And you compare that with like what Banana Republic or something, where like they hire models, right? You're not going to see the manager of South Coast Plaza on the main Banana Republic Instagram, and so that's one aspect. It's kind of like I call it internal influencers, where like you make your own people, your own sales associates, like famous for wearing your brand. That's something
that's very Shakespearean of you, just to make up words like that.
Thank you. I know, right?
Yeah.
Hot dog.
One of your American hotting dogs.
American hotting dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, again, meeting these guys who are just literally just normal dudes that I've seen on Instagram, shot in just like some of the best photography that I've seen. It was just, at first it was a little bit intimidating, but and a lot of fanboying, but they're regular guys.
Yeah. Man,
and of
it's
course,
like, geez, it's like, okay, so I kind of. I'm not as. I mean, I think these are all well-dressed gentlemen, and I would love to meet them. I don't think I would fanboy, but God, if I were in your shoes, I would be bad because I never think that I would be a person who gets weird around celebrities, but I definitely do. So.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm not saying like I was like, oh man,
it's not the time that
Matt
you
Woodruff.
met Owen Wilson.
Well, I didn't even talk to Owen Wilson when I met him.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it's just like whoa, this is like, it's like this is the person I've seen. It's like right in front of me. How you doing, dude? Like, yeah. It's. I mean, obviously, I think I found one more over when I met Jake Grantham, because that was Jake Grantham is really famous, but I mean, it was still cool. Yeah, it was really awesome to meet the Drakes guys, and they all share the same passion that we do. Mm-hmm. We all they're fans of me. I'm fans of them. Wait, what'd you say? Get them
on the podcast.
I should. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to get Matt and even Al, or just all of them. Just an episode dedicated to each of them. They all wear Drakes most of the time. I mean, I don't know what the actual corporate uniform, but I know that sometimes footwear changes, or sometimes they wear a different shirt or whatever. But I think it's really cool that they have like distinct styles. Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool. Even if they do wear a majority of their own brand, style.
Well, I mean, that's like one of the things that we really hammer on a lot, and we hammered on a lot in the last episode, is developing your own unique style.
The last episode, because we didn't really
get to. Did I say lost or last? Because I meant lost.
You said last.
Well, it was technically the last episode.
It was last one that was lost. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I mean, it's really cool. Like, you can kind of see like the little nuances that they prefer. I think, I mean, Chase is really cool. Like, when I first met him, he was wearing that belted. I'm assuming it's Barbour because it looks like one, but it's
super
wax
does.
Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a wax cotton jacket,
and then he's got those are wallabies, right?
No, so I thought they were wallabies, but they technically are, but they're made by Padmore and Barnes and not Clark's. I think that what happened was Padmore and Barnes was a manufacturer for the Clark's brand, and then when I think Clark's bought the rights to wallabies, so if you compare the two, they're kind of different, and I think I prefer the Padmore and Barnes one, which is what Chase actually wears, over the Clark's Wallaby, because the Clark's Wallaby is a bit boxier. It's a little bit. I mean, if you can pull it off, it's interesting, but I think the Padmore and Barnes ones are a bit easier to wear. So
take that, Wes Anderson, and also Walter White.
Yeah, take that. I really want some. I posted a picture of Matt wearing it in the in that Popeye, which is a Japanese magazine. That issue.
It's actually Sailor Man.
Oh,
so...
okay. Thanks. But no, seeing him, I was like, wow, these are really cool, and I really like them with tailoring, because I've normally seen it done with like jeans or kind of more avant-garde stuff from like MFA. So seeing someone wear it with tailoring and like a sport coat was pretty cool. I don't know if I'm gonna buy them. I mean, they're like $120, which isn't too bad. That's
fun sidebar. I taught a couple of my coworkers the term chuck a boot.
How do you not know?
I mean, we literally just got one.
You never had one before?
We didn't have them before, and they were talking about how it's like, oh, we never, everyone was talking about how they never once sold a boot, and I was like, I almost sold one of our Chukka boots.
And they were like, what the fuck is that?
They were like, Chukka boot? And I'm like, Chukka boot? I explained what a Chukka boot was. And here's why I didn't sell it. I was about to, and then I psyched myself out because I was like, ooh, actually, this isn't very good. And the way I'm describing you could wear it wouldn't look good, because I'm an honest salesman, and I want my customers to look good.
Is that the motto for Men's Wearhouse?
That's the new one, because we fired George Zimmer. So
the store where we talk to interesting people.
The store where we talk to interesting people. Speaking of...
Yeah.
We are at 28 minutes and we've answered like 1.5 questions.
Well, yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm sorry. This might be a bonus episode, a bonus long one. I don't know.
Yeah.
So should we get into the Armoury then?
It's making up for our break.
Yeah, we're giving them
Yeah,
double
talk about the
content.
Armoury.
Let's talk about so
Unless you have
okay,
anything
so
else to add about
no, I think
drops.
that's it. Unless someone had asked a question about Drakes.
I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
The two oh god, I haven't been keeping track.
Go ahead and scroll through it.
Hey, really quick.
What do you think of the Halo 3 line with the metal linkage?
Yeah,
Halo
what do you
3
think,
is-
dude?
I love Halo 3.
So let's see who can you track who's watching? Is Rock Charlie, is he still on?
I don't know. We can answer it
Okay,
if he's
well,
got one.
this is a quick sidebar, kind of like to break up the thing before we get into Armoury talk. This is the first question I wrote down, and also one of the only two.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been paying attention that much.
Okay.
But he is going to a Roaring Twenties party, and he said that he's kind of a big guy for you.
Okay. For you.
6'5", 350. So what would we suggest that he wears to a Roaring Twenties party?
Okay. That's a tall order. I mean, if he's got anything that fits him, I think, that's a good place to start. Like, I wouldn't. Every time someone asks, "Hey, what should I wear to a party?" I'm always like, "What do you have?" Like, I don't want you to buy something for a party that you're probably never gonna wear
First
ever
of all,
again.
let's just plug our the many articles on your blog.
Yeah, there's a lot. Even though you might argue that we do a 30s and 40s thing and not really a 20s thing. I say that because someone
I'm
actually
into
did.
the late 20s look.
Well, yeah, but we don't technically do that.
That's right.
That's what I mean. Like, someone actually asked a similar question on Style Forum. I mean, I was away on my trip, so I only saw the email a lot later. But what's his name? Acute Style said, "Hey, I know, and this is like 10 decades off of your preferred years, but can you help this guy out?" But it was already too much past. So
Too late.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to like go back in the conversation and be like, "Hey, that thing for like 5 pages ago? Well, here's my advice."
Yeah. But I mean, anyway, we could just get into like. So
just wear cream trousers, navy jacket. I mean, if you have like khakis, I think that'll work. I mean, that's. I don't want you to buy anything that you're not gonna wear again. If you have a navy blazer and you have a pair of like cream, gray, or white pants, khaki,
and
whatever,
if you expect
that'll
you'd
work.
wear them again, you could go out and buy cream pants because, as we've talked about before, they go with everything.
But you said he was kind of a big guy, right?
For you.
For you.
We're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, it's always gonna happen. No, like, it's gonna be pretty hard. I don't really know any brands that will help you out. I mean, I know Men's Warehouse probably has a lot of bigger sizes than like what you'd find at Banana Republic.
So I mean, okay, so if you like Ethan and I think both agree.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna wear this again, don't buy anything. If you expect that you would find some use for it, you could go out and get a 3-piece and wear it like, just wear it with like a fuller tie or even like a paisley tie, something like that.
Yeah, you know what? So I'm not saying I'm getting frustrated with all the questions that are related to this thing because we get asked this a lot. But no one's gonna really know what a 20s thing is anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as long as you look good, I think that's what matters. So like, make sure the suit fits. Wear a blue striped shirt. Wear like a striped tie. You'll be done. People did it in the 20s.
You're
People
good.
did it to the 60s. You're good. And then you could add like a boater if you wanted to, or like a flat cap or a fedora. That's really how you do it, because again, these people who go to these parties and make these fun events, like, they're not looking for authenticity. They're just looking for a good time.
Yeah,
so
they're looking for
right.
They'll never remember with the friends.
Yeah,
they'll never forget.
and if you're doing like if it's gonna be like a prom or something, like, I wouldn't recommend you wear like your best suit either. Like, you're gonna probably hang out, probably take off your jacket or something. Like, at the end of the day, just look good and be prepared to have fun. Don't think too much into the fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's jump back into the Armoury, or go on to that.
So
that way
after
we can
that
keep
little trip.
Yeah. So the Armoury. I mean, okay. So I'm not gonna say I was disappointed, because I mean.
But I was disappointed.
I was disappointed. No. It's different because the Armoury. I mean, there's like 3 of them so far. There's 2
There's
in
3
Hong Kong.
Armories.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about 3 people in the store, but yeah, I wasn't
No,
making a joke. I was being serious.
no. There's 3. There's 2 in Hong Kong and 1 in New York.
Huh.
And so, I think again, it's kind of like Drake's. You see the guys that you've seen on Instagram, and I think I don't know if anyone's watching this, but I feel like the heyday of the Armoury has passed a little bit. Like now they've started kind of a trend of these niche, super high end menswear boutiques. Before.
Well, you just made some powerful enemies, my friend.
No, what I'm saying, like when I was like, okay, to me they've always been like the kings, but to the people who are in the industry, they were big in like 2008, 2009, 2010, or that's when they started. The height of Tumblr, where you get like those really I'm sorry, not detailed, but like intimate shots of Jake Grantham, Ethan Newton, Mark Cho, Alan C, hanging out in their store, and then now they've become this big powerhouse, and I'm saying that like that the old Armoury is not there anymore. They've become this big brand that's always trying to move forward. Like Drake's is expanding into ready to wear shirts, suits, and etc. While the Armoury, I mean, they've done a lot where they focused on like what do you call it? Oh shit! Someone's calling me. I'm gonna decline this real quick.
Bad.
Come back. Yeah, I know, right? I know that was a bad move. But anyway, so the Armoury, they started doing their own house label shoes. They've done I guess it's kind of like a stepping stone, right? They're always trying to do new things, compared to like Drake's.
Yeah.
I forgot what was I saying. So I'm not trying to say that the Armoury is not less past their heyday. It's more of like, to me, like
they're
now
evolving.
that they're evolving, and especially to me, where like now I've kind of gotten into the world where I'm working at Ascot Chang. I've been to Drake's, where I'm trying to I'm fleshing out my menswear experience. Like now the Armoury to me isn't the top dog in that sense. It's more of like, okay, the Armoury's here, Drake's is here, B and Taylor's here. Yeah. It's one of the many that I can see. It's
one of the dogs in the dog park that is men's fashion.
Yeah. And I mean, personally for me, I feel like I've been looking at the Armoury for a long time, where now I'm trying to find something new, which is why I've moved on to like Bryceland's, which is what Ethan Newton, one of the founders of the Armoury, has done now. And so I'll take it back. I'm not saying that the Armoury has lost its charm. I think it's lost its charm to me, in that it's not the only thing I look at anymore.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
But I mean, either way, like going to the place, I mean, it was still unreal. Like I was very nervous walking in. I'm sure if I went to the Hong Kong one where like the founders were, I'd be even more nervous.
You would just piss yourself.
I would just have to clean up.
You would flood your basement.
I was trying to think of a euphemism, but I think that's the best one.
Yep.
That could have been used.
You guys will hear it when the podcast is released.
Yeah, you'll hear it. But no, like it was like, yeah, sure, Mark Cho isn't there, but this is still the place that stocks, Ring Jacket. That this is where the Permanent Style book launch was held at. There's still so many cool things that have happened in this store, and all the people have walked through all the products. That it was still a very big deal to me. And I'm sure that the guys who work there know who I am. I mean, I've written about the Armoury for the past 2 years and referenced them a lot in my writing. That maybe they're a little uncomfortable by it. I mean, I've heard that one guy, someone time on MFA, I was writing in defense of something, and then someone said, "Don't listen to Ethan. He just circle jerks the Armoury all the time." And I'm like, "Well, you're not wrong."
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So maybe to these guys, it's like what you said earlier. Like maybe I did treat them as celebrities, and so it's a little uncomfortable for them. So I don't. I will not hold that against them. Yeah. But thankfully, I mean, they were really nice when I went in. I'm not expecting like to be Drake's where they're like, "What's up, bro?" Like, we just start hanging and talking. Obviously, the Armoury is a very different ball game than Drake's, even though I think that they're both out of my price range.
Yeah. Well, so what is the price range of the Armoury compared to Drake's? Is it around the same as Drake's?
So like, I mean, that's kind of a weird question because I mean, the Drake's and the Armoury kind of share the same owner, so and they share some products, like the Armoury does stock some drakes, but you know, the clientele is a lot different. Like Drake's is kind of like for the upper middle class. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like I compare Drake's to J. Crew, and not in like a bad way, but kind of like, you know, it's like a one-stop shop that's all under the same label that has everything you need. While the Armoury is kind of like, I don't know, like Nordstrom in the sense that they have everything from everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, that you would possibly need. You know, they source the best artisans, the best manufacturers, you know. So the Armoury carries stuff like Ring Jacket, which is their baseline for ready to wear. It's a Japanese brand that it does a little bit of Italian inspired, like the Japanese take on like Italian tailoring, I guess. If you would, I'm not sure about the house label for Ring Jacket, but at least the ones that do with the Armoury, it's very soft, you know, extended shoulders. That's very, you know, very Italian. So, you know, that's the base of the ready to wear. And I think suits cost about 1.2 to 2.4. Again, it depends on the quality of the fabric, you know, the amount of, not the amount of craftsmanship, but, you know, yeah, it's the quality of the fabric, and like, you know, because they also source from different mills to make, you know, specific stuff. You know, like I think I wore the Black Sheep, which someone just mentioned on the live stream.
Oh, I should be looking at that, huh?
Yeah, so it was like it's Black Sheep's wool, which is like undyed, so it's like it's very natural. It's a rich, you know, natural fabric, and it was amazing. And I think that jacket was like $2,000.
Yeah.
And you know, I think what the Armoury tries to do with ready to wear is it tries to blend like the line between like the feeling you get from like an Italian bespoke garment and the and like, you know, ready to wear, because some, you know, it's hard to find some stuff that you would want from these Italian manufacturers and get them in ready to wear, you know, unless I think like Orazio Luciano, which is another ready to wear option from the Armoury, unless you do it like that way. But not a lot of people can afford Orazio, which I think is like 2 to 3, I think, something like that. So they, to answer Spencer's original question, I think it ranges from like above 1.4. So like after Drake's, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the Armoury. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, Ring Jacket is great. I mean, the Armoury, everything the Armoury does, even if it's made by somebody else, it's always made to the Armoury standards, which I think is really cool. So all of the Ring Jacket stuff there is different than what you'd find at the Ring Jacket New York store. So the Armoury's model, again, has the extended shoulders. It's soft, unpadded, with like an oversized sleeve head, so it has a kind of like, I guess it looks like rope shoulders, I guess, but not like it looks like the effect of a rope shoulder, but with a natural soft shoulder, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You know, this might be a topic we could talk about on a future episode that gets more into menswear, because I feel like
we can just talk about
this next thing I would bring out is like, here, kind of talking about it. It seems like, and this isn't a bad thing, but it seems like the menswear world is kind of like a snake eating its own tail, where like everyone is making stuff for like, or every brand is making stuff for other brands and stuff like that. Because it's like you were talking about Drake's and the Armoury have, you said that they have like the same owners, right?
Yeah, they do.
And then, you know, Ascot Chang, where you work, by the way, you work there.
Yeah, I do work there.
they make stuff for the Armoury, and correct?
That is true. Yeah. So it's we can talk about it for the future time, but I guess the point was that, you know, I was able to put on these garments that I have literally only
dreamed of
in pictures, you know. And we've met like Hector, a couple of guys who've gone to New York and, you know, and have bought from the Armoury or whatever, and so it's like, to them it's like, oh, it's no big deal, but like to me, I think the whole theme of this is like, I'm so far removed from this world of contemporary classic menswear that it's always gonna be like a really big deal to me. That like it's unreal that I'm at the Armoury. You know, even though that I have expanded my tastes, I've known that the Armoury is not the only menswear store out there, you know, that has a aesthetic I'm looking for. It's still super cool that I was able to go in there and meet these guys, and try on the clothes.
Yeah.
And so that was, I mean, I don't know what else, how it compared to for you, Spencer. I don't know if there's a similar experience for you, but at least to me, you know, it was cool, and I'm sure with more time, I'll probably get used to it and get over it. But I hope that. But I mean, something that someone's told me is that they're always impressed with the excitement that I bring to menswear, like in the blog, and I think that's really cool. I think me, Spencer and I have talked about this in the Lost episode, where guys are trained to not be excited about fashion.
Yeah.
And so, you can't be like, whoa, look at this dope ass fucking suit, man. You have to be like, oh yes, look at this.
People don't really get excited about it and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they make excuses like, oh, I appreciate classic clothing. I don't care. But I'm like, no, man. To me, it's like, this is fucking dope. This is super cool.
It's my hobby. It's what I'm into.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I don't get excited about much anymore. So
right. you gotta be happy. You gotta still maintain your excitement for something. Yeah. So I mean, I as a guy who has mainly worn secondhand clothing, thrifted clothing, putting on something that can emulate the vintage look that I like, that's completely new, is unimaginable. Well, I can imagine it now, but it's super cool. Like, whoa, this is what I would wear if I could afford it and buy something that's new. It's because I think, like, I don't know if I've said this, but like, I mean, I don't think I don't consider myself a true vintage person because I don't really go for straight vintage all the time. I think that if I could, I would buy new. If I could afford it, and design it the way I want. So. Yeah, the Armoury is. They're killing it now.
Yeah, I mean, quick shout out to Armoury NYC Instagram post from March 23rd, where one of their guys is wearing the dopest look, and this is okay.
What is it?
So this is the fun part about doing an audio
podcast. A podcast that talks about something that you normally see with your eyes.
That you only see with your eyes. Yeah. So he is wearing a tweed hair,
Is it Rick?
I don't know. It's a white dude with brown wavy hair.
I think it's Rick Carroll.
Okay.
It's the Ivy guy, right? Yeah.
Probably. So he's wearing a herringbone patch pocket jacket with like corduroy pants and a plaid shirt, and he's doing the pocket fist thing.
Yeah.
And it looks great. Good look.
Yeah, hence why do you think see, like, there are some times when I'm like, oh yeah, the Armoury's cool, it's just another thing on my feed, but then I see some great stuff like that.
That was Rick, by the way. Another post names him. His name is Rick.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so again, like, I gotta take it back. Like, I wouldn't say like I don't dislike I never said that. I never said that.
I never said that. People are misconstruing you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, every once in a while, I'll see something great from the Armoury, and it'll remind me of, like, wow, this is the reason why that they were the big dogs, and why they continue to influence a majority of the menswear market. Like, I don't know if Spencer has read this or seen this, but like, there is an article, I think from like Business Insider, where like it talks about the rise of these specialized niche menswear boutiques, and it's all because of the Armoury. I think that something like the Bloke would not have even been able to survive if the Armoury didn't exist before it.
Yeah. So this is another thing we'll probably talk about in the future, but what kind of dog? Like, if you had to assign a dog to each different menswear brand.
I don't know enough dog breeds to
Google it. We'll talk about this in the future.
Right. But the dog, I mean, not the dog, but the what do you call it? Fuck. It's like the mascot for the Armoury is a lion. So is that
cute? Lion dog.
A lion.
A real dog.
A Mastiff hound?
Sure. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Yeah. Let's move on to another question. Is there anything else you want to throw in about New York? Or have we
well, I just want to say, like, someone did ask me, like, if you could, describe.
Oh wait, you know what? Hey, shut up.
What?
Christopher. Oh, my handwriting. Pizarro.
Yeah, Christopher Pizarro.
He asked.
Sorry, I think he's watching. So if I mispronounce his last name, then that's my bad.
I'm paraphrasing here, but he asked essentially, what is something that you wish you brought, and why don't you kind of go into, like, the stuff you brought, like how your reasoning behind everything, the psychology, the Freudian psychology behind why you picked your outfits.
Okay, so I mean, I wish I could have brought all the coolest shit that I own. Belt backs. Crazy weaves and stuff like that. Some of the more bolder ties, but I did not bring any of that. I brought my brown sack suit. I brought my blue sack suit. Then I brought a gray herringbone tweed odd jacket and gray flannels. That way, it would really, I mean, if you could think about it, like that's like the Ethan capsule collection. Like
Yeah, keep talking. I'm gonna go offline for a minute.
Okay. You just keep swapping between those things and mix and match them. But one of the reasons I didn't bring a lot of stuff is because I could not pay for checked luggage. So like I'm not gonna pay the extra like $60 to bring a giant suitcase of things that I don't really need. So that's one thing. Like another thing is I knew I wasn't going to be able to take a lot of my own self-portraits because I'll be at work. I normally use my tripod, and while I did bring it, I knew I was going to be really busy. So I was like, well, I don't really need to dress up, and make crazy outfits because number one, I can't take a picture of myself out in Central Park, right? Or take a picture of myself in front of the Armoury. Like I'll probably have to have someone take a picture of me, and it's probably going to be my cell phone, so it doesn't really matter what I'm wearing. So yeah, I didn't really bring anything that interesting. I did bring some stuff, I did some typical Ethan combos, spear point collars, pinned, my collar bar, and a couple of like rep ties and like some foulards, which, it's stereotypically Ethan, but it's, it wasn't something super crazy, and I think I was able to still dress like me while, having like not a huge wardrobe. And so I mean there are a couple of stuff you see, and I kind of go into it in the blog post, so I already talk about how like, oh yeah, I like this outfit, or this outfit wasn't that interesting but I did it anyway. But the last outfit, the one I wore on my free day, I was wearing a brown jacket, gray pants, I did like a check spear point collar with a rep tie. A lot of the fashion choices in that particular outfit, like the mix and matching of patterns, gray and brown, worn together. I mean, that I was really proud of that last outfit.
It's pretty good. It's a good look.
Thank you, yeah. And I also like the one I wore to the party where it was like, so I actually didn't wear it like the full suit like all together through the like any of the days. I just mix and match. But because we had like an Ascot Chang event, I did wear a full suit. I did my Ivy Sack suit, and instead of like doing something like kind of classy, I still decided to dress like me. So I did like a blue striped spear point with kind of an abstract a brown circle tie, and it kind of works out because we were doing a whiskey tasting, so I was wearing a brown tie. Yep. So whiskey or whatever, and it was still like it was interesting enough for it to look like me without being overtly vintage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not exactly Ivy, but it was still a fun look.
It's a little Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like Ivy except for the tie. So. But yeah, basically, I just kind of wore very basic Ethan outfits that are easily interchangeable. Like if I decided not to wear those particular pants one day, I could have easily swapped it with a different pair of pants.
And that's how you should pack when you're traveling.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I wasn't gonna overpack just for the sake of like showing off cool shit. Like, I'm smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, you might think otherwise.
Work smarter, not harder. Pack
exactly.
Smarter, not harder. Sorry.
Yeah. Any other questions before we head out today?
Yeah. So, Peter Winslow, long-time listener, first-time caller, probably, asks, how does he wear turtlenecks without looking like Steven Jobs?
Well, so Steve Jobs wears a turtleneck with glasses. Yeah, he's dead. Now. Sadly, all dead now.
Steve Jobs is dead.
But he wears it with what, like jeans, sneakers.
Yeah, he wore it with jeans.
So the way you do it is you don't wear jeans, sneakers, and circle glasses, and have like a shaved head.
Don't tell me that you're okay. Maybe not the shaved head thing, but don't tell me you're not gonna do a turtleneck with like jeans and sneakers like next week, because I feel like.
I mean, okay, I could do it, but like, okay, so like. It's kind of like an iconic thing, right? Like you can't escape that mental image, But I can tell you firsthand that wearing a turtleneck with a suit is something that Steve Jobs did not do. So if you wear it by itself, okay, there you go. There's something there. If you wear it by itself, that's kind of weird to me. Like it covers a lot of your body and like, well, literally your whole torso, right? Like your neck, your arms and chest or whatever. But
name up
but like
head, shoulders.
but like yeah, but usually a turtleneck is usually pretty form fitting. It's usually made of like a merino wool or something like that. So it's kind of odd to see it like worn by itself. Like I feel like you need like a leather jacket or a sport coat or or something like that to kind of cover it up and to give some structure that you lose when you're wearing like a sweater. Like it's like wearing like a t-shirt, or a long sleeve t-shirt,
Yep.
Except I think turtlenecks
underneath a
fit
larger
even
t-shirt.
more snug. Yeah. Shut up.
Okay.
But like yeah, so don't wear it by itself. You always add on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main way of escaping the Steve Jobs thing. Because to me, wearing a turtleneck, I mean, yeah, there's Steve Jobs, but I think of John Williams too. So, and I love Johnny.
Here's another tip: wear a dickie.
Yeah, you could wear a dickie.
Like Zach Galifianakis in that Dinner for Schmucks. Do you remember that movie?
I do remember that movie. That was. I thought it was good when I first saw it, but
so did I. I think I thought it was hilarious.
I think we got to revisit that.
Yeah, because I mean, I do have
good.
like my Zach Galifianakis like rose tinted glasses on because he's one of my favorite comedians. But Zach's agent is not the best, and sometimes I think he picks bad movies. I'm sorry, Zach, if you're listening. Live at the Purple Onion is still one of the best specials of all time.
I love Between Two Ferns, so
yeah.
Shout out to my boy Scotty Ox. So.
Yep, Scott Aukerman. Hey, guess what picture I found recently?
What picture?
Scott Aukerman on the
younger
Paper
than
Moon.
Boo-Boo.
Yeah, on the Paper Moon, the Paper Moon vintage Paper Moon. He went there.
Wait, like
literally, it has the Paper Moon vintage logo in it.
Oh. Holy shit!
Yeah, right.
Do we have an in there? Can we meet Scott Aukerman?
I'm gonna look it up. I don't think I'm gonna find it by searching.
Any other questions here? Someone mentioned Brio Beijing. That's a really cool store. I should probably visit that if I ever go to Beijing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an Armoury-esque kind of a thing. Started by George Wang. Okay, if he's listening, I don't think he's gonna appreciate this.
No. Doesn't like ding dong jokes about his last name.
Yeah.
Someone asked, "What's your favorite food?"
Oh, I love burgers. So,
nice.
I hope that answers the question.
Okay.
Well, I only have a minute and 41 seconds left, so I think that I think it's time to close off.
Say
now.
adieu.
I think we hit everything.
Yeah. So let's our ending.
Our ending. Wait, let me have some closing things about New York.
Okay, say some. God, whatever.
Hey, okay, whatever. All right.
Okay, say some closing things about New York, and I'm gonna come up with fun things that we can say.
Well, okay. I just want to say that going to New York was a really great experience. I literally haven't been to New York since like 5 years ago when I was in high school, and as you can see from my Instagram post, I was definitely not into menswear. So it was, it's kind of like going to a place that you've built up in your head and kind of, obviously it's not going to hit every expectation, but I think it's even better because I was able to have kind of a realistic view at it. Like, I was able to hang out with the Drake's guys and see what they're like. I was able to go to the Armoury and finally visit the store that's really transformed menswear in the past like 5 or 6 years. And hopefully it's not the last time I go. It's definitely not going to be because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go again next year.
After what's going to happen to New York when I'm done with it. Hey FBI, that's a joke.
now you're on some sort of list.
I've been on a list.
Yeah. Checking it twice.
You better watch out.
You're gonna see who is not Nazi or nice.
Yeah. So while you were having fun in New York, so you were talking about how you got to meet these people that transformed your life. I measured
my
a guy,
wife.
I measured a guy that smelled a lot like onion rings, and then because I had to get in close to measure him, I smelled like onion rings for the rest of the day.
That's so he changed your life.
He changed my life for that day because I was like that. I smell like onion rings.
There you go.
Okay, so.
All right. Well, yeah.
It's been a long episode, but that's because we missed a month. So.
Yeah.
Which one of your friends said that they like to fall asleep to our podcast?
John
So
said
John,
that.
this one's for you.
Yep. This one, you can put this on and you can fall right asleep.
Yep.
Big boy.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
If you give us a review on
Please.
on iTunes, please do so. It helps other people find out about this podcast.
And next
Because
time
they're gonna
we'll
love us
we'll-
talking for an hour about a personal experience that Ethan had.
And also next time we will remember to like read the reviews, but we're running. Yeah, I don't want to prolong this anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll like read reviews or like any emails, questions that you guys send us.
Yeah, definitely. Send us an email to style and direction to spell all those words out. styleanddirection@gmail.com. It's also at style and direction on Instagram. You can follow me at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO. That's my Instagram.
Right. And we'll see you in hopefully 2 weeks again.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be another month.
Okay.
Because some people have actually said that they really enjoy this. So.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right.
Okay. Here's my pitch for our closing this episode.
Okay, go for it.
Eat, pray, love.
Love it. All right.
Okay.
Eat, pray, love, everybody.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.